Okay, good morning, everyone. How are you? How is everything? Right now, we're admitting everyone in. Okay. Okay, great. For today, if suddenly I go off, just stay put.
Good
Okay.
morning, Usman.
Good morning, I'm
Great
Ismail.
yesterday because it doesn't seem like. Hopefully, the connection will be great today. Okay, but if not, then we will see. Okay. Okay, great. I want everyone to open up the cameras so that we can start. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Great. Okay, um, uh, today we're going to talk about different theories, okay, in political science, yes, for international relations, okay. International relations, yesterday, what did we talk about? What's the most important thing in international relations? What are the key words in the definition? Can anyone help me out here? Okay, so we talked about yesterday, dif the definition and what is international relations, right? So what are the key
مش ماي.
Yes.
هو انا لو جايب 100 في السايكولوجي لازم اعمل والبوليتيكال ساينس لازم اعمل الريميديال اللي هو الكويزز والحاجات دي ولا مش لازم اللي هو حضرتك لسه حطها؟
Okay, for personal questions on the grades, please send me an email. Okay, and I'll answer you back.
اوكي.
Yes? Okay, great. Okay, so for today let's talk about international relations. And if you have any personal questions, if you have any questions about the trimester 1, about this trimester, please send me on the email or personal message on Lenovia. Okay?
مستر، ما انا لما بسند الايميل محدش بيرد عليا.
Which email did you send to the email I sent you yesterday on the chat?
اه.
Okay, then I'm for sure I got it. Okay? Can you send it to me again today? I didn't get any emails from you. Make sure it's the correct email. Okay, I bet it's not correct because I didn't get any email from you. I don't remember, but I'll double check today. Okay, just make sure to email me again today, and I'll confirm with you. Okay, great. Yes. Okay. I'll put on the chat my email again, and it's on Corsonovia. Okay, so on Corsonovia under announcements, I have my WhatsApp number, and I also have my email. Okay. Okay. So let's start with the definition. What are the key terms? The key terms for the definition of international relations. What did we say? What's the most important aspect of international relations that makes it unique from the other theories, fields, and everything else we talked about before? What's the most important aspect? Let's try to remember. Yesterday what we talked about. Okay, let me give you a clue. What's the main concept of international relations? Is it worldwide or for one government?
It's worldwide.
Excellent. Who said it? Dia. Good job,
Job.
Dia. Yes, that's it, Dia.
Thank you.
Okay, good job. Worldwide. I always want you to remember that international relations is worldwide. Okay, now can someone give me an example? How is it worldwide? So that's the international part, right? How is it worldwide? Like what topics do they deal with, issues? What usually happens? Try to remember the video. What is the job of an international relation person? Who goes to a conference or who does research or the
Miss,
field
may I say
itself.
something?
Yes, please do.
Like, for example, the international security, like terrorism,
Excellent job. That's a
and the
very good
global
example.
finance and economic development.
Okay. International security, like against terrorism. Excellent job. And what are the other examples you gave also?
Economic development and global finance.
Excellent job. Economic development and global finance. That is really good. Okay. As you can see, these are really big issues. Economic development and finance, right? International finance. Is that true?
Yes,
Yes. Okay, good.
the international finance.
Okay. Okay. These are really good topics, really good examples of how international relations are really important in a worldwide sense. Okay. So obviously, like Dial said, Dial, you get extra credit for today. Good job. International security, like against terrorism. This is really important. Security issues. Okay. Security issues are the most important, issues for international relations. Anyways, remember what we said yesterday and before, that historically international relations, the modern world started from, having peace worldwide. Okay, after the world wars, right? So you have the League of Nations, which failed obviously, and then afterwards there was World War II. After World War II, there's the United Nations. Okay, United Nations. Okay, that we still have until today. Okay, is the biggest of research and discussions. You'll find resolutions. You'll find, what's really important here when we say relations, it's communication between the different entities, whatever they are, and trying to make a kind of relationship positive, obviously, in research, in ethics and morals, in solving problems, in defining the problems, and everything else, and obviously doing the events and activities that uh, that fulfill the objective that you have. Like, for example, if you want international security, obviously you have different programs for it, right? To develop it, to increase international security, and to maintain it. Okay. So obviously we're talking about really big things in the world today, and this is really big. Okay. So if you go into the field, you find it's an ongoing international process in the world of worldwide, consensus, worldwide discussions, worldwide research, worldwide awareness. That's also part of international relations, and worldwide programs and fulfilling objectives. Okay. And even more and more and more, right? I wanted yesterday and today for you guys to tell me, what about refugees? Is this part of international relations? Remember when we watched the video? And if you watched the video over the weekend or you had time to review, okay, what we talked about before, what about refugees? Is it an issue in international relations? It is, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes. Who, please share with us. Who wanted to share with us about refugees?
Yes, Miss, I was saying yes, they are.
Yes, they are. Excellent, Omar. Okay, so refugees is a big issue. It's one of the biggest issues in international relations. It's one of the biggest issues in international relations. Okay. Now, when the connection gets better, I'm going to upload a video for for a certain subject for international relations, so you can have a feel of what goes on. Okay, it's really complicated, really intricate kind of system in the world, where you have different parts that work together for many years. Usually, it doesn't end. Okay, these issues never end. From World War II and onwards, it never ended. You'll find organizations that are really old, really complicated. They have a good base, good research, good kind of morals, ethics, like the UN, and even more. Okay, now the UN is the oldest and the biggest. However, there are different organizations in the world that are really effective and really strong. Okay, so especially in places and countries that have issues as these. Okay, so you'll find it spread out in the world. So international relations is obviously deals with refugees. Okay, so remember that refugees, it's one of the biggest issues in international relations. And if there's war, natural disaster, there are different problems in the country. Okay, sometimes the economic problems. It's there's no security issue, but huge economic problems, like in Africa or in Asia or in different parts of the world. Okay, suddenly there's an economic downfall. You have refugees all over the world. Okay, and usually it's really disturbing of how they face different problems. So refugees is number one. Okay. Now, we said in foreign policy, many governments, they try to develop positively on this issue. So they try to cooperate with different organizations like the UN and others, and with international relation entities in the world, so that they can improve the refugee status that they have. Okay, and their priorities for other governments to also develop in that field. Okay, it's a humanitarian field. It's number one for human rights in the world. So you need to be aware that refugees is a very, very important issue, like security, like economic issues that Diat today shared with us. This is a really important issue, is also economic development, international finance. So as you can see, it's very hard. Okay, if you took economics or business or with Mr. Alfara or with or accounting, right? You'll find that these are really important issues in the world and they're very hard, right? And they need a lot of research and development. Some wars happen because of it, other times peacemaking or other events in the world that are really important because of these issues. Okay. If in college, obviously you want to go into such fields like business accounting or economics, and in terms of international relations or organizations, you'll find it's a very nice major, very nice topic to go into. Now, today we're going to go into more refugees. Okay, so I'll see if I can share with you the video. Let me see. Okay, let's see if the video works out. Until the video comes, I want everyone just to say one thing in the real world that you think international relations deals with. Okay, anything around you, anything that you know from the media, anything that you remember from when you were young or right now that you think international relations deals with. Okay, let's start with Omar, and then everyone says one thing. Okay, let's start.
Just could you repeat the question again?
So anything around us, anything from from what you can think about right now that has to do with international relations.
Who live through extraordinary times. In the country they live in, conflict or persecution have put them at risk. They have no other choice but to flee and to leave their country and seek safety.
Yes. Can everyone listen? Yes?
Yes, but I have a question.
Yes.
Why are they talking about refugees and the people in the video are black? This is racist.
Is it racist? Why is it
Yes.
racist?
Yeah,
Because
it's racist because
yeah,
you are
the
talking
thing-
about one person.
Okay. Obviously there is racism, unfortunately, in the world. I agree with you, but it's not racist in the sense of they can be black, they can be from Asia, they can be white, right?
Actually, they're not doing it in a racist way, but they're doing it in a like a stereotype. يعني مثلا
Okay,
if the
good
video is
point.
talking about people, they put white people because white people are rich مثلا. أو مثلا لو they're talking about مش عارف يعني do you understand me? Just anyone who's traveling from a country to other country أو كده أو not traveling يعني he's a refugee أو كده he has to be black. أو anyone who steals he has to be black أو كده.
Okay. I agree with you. Okay, that there are stereotypes in the media. Yes. Okay. However, this is a really good point. Good job. Okay, some people may take it as racism that why is black? Why is it so stereotypical of black colored or a kind of physical appearance, right? Okay, for all races, and I agree with you. Okay, usually there is stereotype for a certain population in the world, right? Like for example, when you have about refugees or about like you said wars or what did you say the example? It's a really nice example you said. Like in the movies, you said.
About the which parts?
Um, about you gave a really nice example of sometimes it's stereotypical and generalized for also black people if like they steal, right? You said if they steal or
Yes.
yes, okay, good job. Okay, this is a really good point and I agree with you. Okay, however, want to make a balance between kind of, just a documentary, okay, or a kind of video, right? Between that and between, for example, the realistic world, right? Okay, because okay, like for example, today, I if someone can make like a documentary or such a video about women's status, okay, and so right away you find in a women's status where in the Arab world, okay, right away you find maybe for example that there are you know traditional wear, right, in the Arab world that in the village or elsewhere or in different cities in the Arab world, okay, and then you find that women are highly weak, they have many problems and they have different issues, okay, in that sense, okay, you can say it's kind of stereotypical and generalizing because that also is in all the world, not only the Arab world in that sense. However, there's the same time there's the real world, right? In the sense there's research and also um, there's something really important. You want to find the source. Okay, now it's not wrong to analyze and think, give your viewpoint. Okay, however, you want to find the source and you want to find from where it came from, right? In this sense, here they're just picturing for you in a place in the world we don't know. Okay, this family, obviously it's a refugee family. Okay, it happens to be that they come from this culture and the source is from the UN. Okay, so this video is from the UN. Okay, so in that sense, it's very professional. It comes from a base of research, a base of many years of experience in the field, and obviously they don't have that kind of generalization or stereotype. It's not like a Hollywood movie or a movie that comes from making money or comes from a kind of objectives um that are not from research or experience or from solving problems, right? Obviously this is a professional source, okay, so make sure you know the difference here. And it's not wrong to give your perspective, but make sure that you have a kind of you don't want to jump to conclusion, right, and judge without having a good base. Okay, so think about it. Okay, are they saying here that all people who are refugees are black? No, right? Okay, in that sense it's not stereotypical. Okay, that's what's important, right? Okay, so here what's important is that not all refugees are black. They're not saying that, they're just picturing a kind of situation to define the refugees. Okay, so in that sense, that's not stereotypical or racist. Okay, they could have put a family from Asia, they could have put a family from maybe even North America, from Mexico, from the US, from Canada, from Europe, from South America, I don't know, from the Arab world, from Africa. Okay, but they got this family. Okay, so here we don't want to focus on things that they don't exist really, in the sense of it's sourced from the UN. Okay, I think it's UNHCR. We'll look at the source, okay, and we'll talk. That's a really good question, really good point. We'll talk about this point, okay. How do I differentiate between a kind of documentary, which is just expressing the real world in the sense of learning from, in the sense of defining the problem characteristics, doing research, and how is it stereotypical in general, okay. So obviously here they don't have anything like all people who are black are refugees. That's wrong, right? That's very general and stereotypical, okay. Or black people are the biggest problem in the world for racism, okay, in the sense of their culture. That's kind of racist, okay, that is racist. Do you see? That's a really good point. So we'll see the difference between racism and between or generality stereotypes and between research, okay, or between kind of like this video is a small video. It wants to picture for you the situation. So obviously it doesn't have a lot of information in the sense of sources or whatever like a textbook, but it has a good picture of it. Okay, do you see? So this is the difference here. Good point. Okay, so make sure you know the difference here, right? Okay, here there's nothing really racist in the sense of they're picturing the situation. Okay, so make sure you know that difference. Yes, we'll talk more and more about that. That's really good. And actually, the topic of refugee, this is very important, right? Because you'll be surprised in the past, in the present, in the future, there is no entity or nationality or race for that. Okay, it's unfortunately it's all over the world. Okay, so obviously it's a big disaster when it comes to a certain country or region or culture for many years, and it may never end. But that's true. Okay, um, so that's a really good point. Number one. Um, Number two, before we start the video, I just want to stress about the source. Okay, so there are different organizations in the world that have really nice videos, really nice websites, really nice sources. Okay, if you go to library or if you want to go on the internet, or if you want, to get a textbook or a kind of resource book. Okay, in the field they have. Okay, and they have really good research and support. So this is really important too. Okay, now what I want you to focus on right now is the actual issue. Okay, what is a refugee? Right, in that sense. Okay, some people, they even say that question is kind of vague in the sense of it's a really big topic in today's world, and it's very hard to define what a refugee is. But I want you to look at the video and tell me what you think. Okay, and we'll define it together. Yes, so let's start. If you can't listen well, tell me. Okay.
This means leaving a lot behind, one of the hardest decisions a person can ever take. So, what makes a person a refugee? Refugees are no longer in their own country and have crossed at least one border. Ongoing conflict may put them at risk if they return, or they are at risk of persecution because of their nationality, race, or sexual orientation, or because they associate with a religion, a social group, or a political opinion. Some get jailed or harmed physically or mentally. Refugees often flee with no more than the clothes on their back and leave behind their everyday life. They may lose their home, their savings, their career, and often their family and loved ones. The journey to safety can be long and full of dangers.
Okay, this is really expressive about main things that usually a refugee you know, deals with. Okay, they lose loved ones, which is very hard. They lose their precious, valuable objects, houses, and many times their own villages, cities, neighborhoods, countries, right? Lifestyle. Okay, they would have a certain lifestyle. They're forced to another one, which is usually worser, right? Even if they weren't they didn't have a really good status in life in the sense of economic or school or education, usually it goes down. Okay, so concentrate on the characteristics. And here they said there are different types of refugees: from war, from insecurity, from jail, from political asylum. I will talk more about them. So as you can see, it's a really big issue and it needs a lot of effort and work to decrease it or to make their life better. Okay, so
During the journey, people can get hurt, and sadly, many lose their lives. All of this can cause severe trauma. Fortunately, there are international laws to protect refugees. Refugees cannot be sent back to their countries if it puts them at risk. Countries have a legal obligation to let refugees in and protect them. But even in a safe country, life as a refugee can be daunting. Refugees may continue to deal with trauma. Some are separated from their family and long to reunite with loved ones.
this is a really big issue in the refugee world, is that sometimes or many times they're separate from their family, and it's really hard for them to find them again. Okay, usually, as you can see, it's in really bad situations, right? Like in different issues in the world, in war, in peace, you find it if there are political turmoil. There's a revolution, there are political instability, economic instability, natural disasters, right? There are big earthquakes, tsunamis, or so forth. Um, so this is really important to know. Okay, if you're interested in the subject, you'll find that there are really nice actually novels if you have time, or movies, or actually they're very touching. They're very nice. about this issue, is that how their life changes, how it's it's a life-changing experience for them. Okay. Now, as you can see, it's a very sensitive issue. It's a very sensitive issue in the sense of some people, they may have been a refugee, but they don't like to talk about it. Other people, no, it's part of their life. So it depends, okay? In the sense of life goes on and some of them become very successful and part of society. Others, unfortunately, no. They can't face the problems that they face, and and it increases, okay? So you'll find this topic, there's a lot of movies, a lot of books that are really touching, really nice. Actually, not racist stereotypical at all, opposite, they're very expressive, okay? And this is really important to know, okay? So let's
There may be challenges related to adapting to a new environment. Host countries can provide assistance to learn the language and to adapt to cultural and other differences. But when does someone stop being a refugee? Some refugees can return home if the situation in their country becomes safe enough. Others will remain and integrate in their host countries. With the right support, refugees can successfully integrate and make a new life for themselves. Some refugees eventually even become citizens of their host country.
Okay, so this is a really nice introduction video to the topic of refugees. Okay, as I said, it's one of the biggest topics in international relations. I will put it on Learnovia today so that you can watch it, and it has different series, or hopefully soon we will watch. Okay, so what is a refugee? Let's kind of recap here. Let's go to the whiteboard. Okay, what is a refugee? So we talked about definition of international relations and different topics, and then now we'll talk about the biggest, or one of the biggest topics and problems in the world today that international relations deals with: refugees. So what is a refugee?
Refugee is a person who is forced to leave his country.
Excellent. Okay. Person or family, right? Person, family, group of people, okay, forced to leave their home country. Okay. What if you're forced to leave a country which is not your home country? Would that be considered a refugee in that sense? What do you
Yes.
think? Yes. Okay. Excellent. Until you have security, okay, and obviously you are linked to your home country, but that is also considered refugees, and it's very hard, right? And in that sense, if, for example, what happened in Indonesia with the tsunami, okay, there are different people from different parts of the world. Yeah, it was a worldwide catastrophe where the tsunami happened, and you have people that were, for many years it took. They were trying to find families, people, missing ones, okay, that come from different parts of the world, right? Besides people who ran away, and they came after, some of them many years, some of them, a year, a month, it depends, okay? So this is a really important point here. Do you see here? They come from all over the world and they were tourists. So it's not a typical one. We're from war or from, a kind of disaster, economic disaster, political turmoil, or revolution. It was actually an international catastrophe. They came from all over the world and they were tourists. So it was from, a normal population, right? And many of them became refugees in the sense of they were missing, or they had to go back to their home country, or obviously it was very, very bad, okay? um and some of them, in the sense of there is a kind of limit, right? So some countries, they don't have the potential, or unfortunately they, they don't go by the international law of having full support. You'll be surprised. You'll find, okay, for sure, governments, as much as possible, they participate and the different organizations and they fund, unfortunately not. Okay, that's another issue. Sometimes though it's opposite, they do, but it's such a world problem to the degree that the world is not up to, solving it or putting forth efforts and solutions as soon as possible. Okay, so sometimes it's opposite. Okay, sometimes it's so big to the degree that the world is going down from it. Okay, so you'll find that in Africa it was like that, right? Okay, also in the wars in the Middle East, right? Yes, and also you have Mexico. Mexico has that. Okay, now this is really important to know that there are different circumstances to have refugees, right? And South America also. Okay. Okay. So, any questions on that? Yes. So, is a person, family group being forced to leave their home country or a certain country? Okay. Okay. Now, obviously, the most well-known and research done on and the number one priority are the ones who leave their home country, right? But it depends on the
Miss
yes.
session finished.
Okay, okay, great. So I want you to review the video that we talked about last week. Hopefully next time we'll talk more about it. Okay, the different values in international relations, the different issues that pertain to that world of international relations. Okay, and also I put an assignment. Yes, so make sure you do it by this Saturday. Yes, and make sure you do the past assignments. And if you did not do the quiz, make sure you do. Okay, have a great day. Thank you for an amazing session. Okay, keep it up. Bye. Bye.
Okay, thank you, Miss.
Thank you.
Good morning, Miss Bai. Good morning.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.